Hello guys, welcome back to the Golden One channel. Thank you so much for stopping by once again, and let's get to it. So today we're going to be talking about what an empath is and how to protect yourself. So first we're going to begin with what an empath is. Now some of you may already know what an empath is, some of you may have an idea of what an empath is. And I'm basically doing this video for those who know and who don't know. Will have techniques to protect yourself and protect your energy, because empaths do absorb negative energy from others. Sometimes positive, sometimes neutral, but the negative one is the one we want to look out for. So, starting with the empath. So what an empath is essentially it's a person who's very sensitive to energy, to other people's energy too. So sometimes an empath, everyone is, I always say this to everybody, everyone is so unique that there's no one way of doing it, or one way of being, I should say. But essentially, empaths are people or beings who are very sensitive to energy. Now like I said, everyone's different. So there's different ways to be sensitive to energy. Sometimes people are sensitive to emotional energy. The more common ones are emotional energy, location-based energy that's been left behind in a certain location, sensitive to things like crystals, stuff like that. It's very broad, and I don't want to get too complicated here. I want to keep it very simple. But I want you guys to understand that it is more, there's more of a complete picture than what I am going to be sharing with you today. So if you really want to delve down that rabbit hole, use your resources, go on YouTube and go down that rabbit hole, go, read somewhere online and look it up. And there's lots of wonderful places where you can find this really in-depth information. Now, I do plan to do a very dedicated descriptive video, but for now we're just going to work with this. So being an empath is someone who's very sensitive to energy. So I've already said that. Now you're wondering, how do I know if I am an empath? How do I figure that out? There's a few key, very simple ways to figure it out. Is if you go to places, let's say you go out with your friends, or you go to a family picnic or a gathering of some sort, and if you come back, or after leaving, or after being there a short time too, it doesn't have to be, after leaving the party or picnic or whatever, it can be after just being there for a short time, you'll notice a shift in yourself. If it's a really high vibe, really positive, uplifting place, you might feel more energized very naturally. And on the opposite end, if it's a very negative, very people with a lot of baggage who are there and a lot of problems that they don't address their issues and all that nasty stuff, then you'll feel drained. And that's one way to figure it out. How do I feel after going to a place that's crowded, or a gathering of some sort where there's multiple people? Okay, that's one way to figure that out. A second way to figure that out is how your emotions feel after that gathering. Sometimes you might not necessarily get the fatigue or the energy from it. You might feel different ranges of emotions. If you're the kind of empath that really tunes into emotions, you'll pick up emotions from other people, even though they weren't expressing them in the party. For example, you leave a place and everyone's like having fun, or they're enjoying themselves, no one looks sad or depressed, and then you leave the party and all of a sudden for some reason you feel sad and depressed or down. That could be a very big indicator that you're an empath, because you literally just took on someone else's crap, someone else's depression or sadness or whatever that they might be hiding because they just don't want to put it out in the world. Some people are very private with that kind of stuff. Some people are very open with that kind of stuff. And it's, when you have the people who are very open with it, and that's a very tangible way to realize, oh, this person unloaded on me, I'm now leaving later on and I feel crappy, that's because they just unloaded all their crap on you. So segueing into the next third form that I'm going to be explaining to you to identify if you're an empath is a lot of people who are empaths are typically the people that others kind of talk to. And what I mean by that is they unload on you. They're like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. You're a total stranger, or I don't typically tell people this stuff, but I'm just like, blah, you know. They just let it all out there. That's a good indicator that you're also an empath, and those are a little bit more, I wouldn't say advanced, but more on the healing aspects of being an empath. You're more of like possibly a healer or transmitter of energy, or transmuter, I should say, transmuting of energy. A lot of people don't know that about themselves, and so people will unload on you because they feel, oh, I feel so good now after talking to you. It's a very unconscious thing that these people do, and they like feel your energy, and they realize, yeah, on a subconscious level, not a conscious way, on a subconscious level, they realize that they can release this emotion and this energy on you because you're a big conduit for that kind of stuff. So there are many different things you could look for to figure out whether or not you're an empath. Those are the easiest, I find, that, you know, can be identified. So back on the emotion part of the spectrum there, another good identifier is when you go to a place, not necessarily like a gathering of some sort. Maybe you're going to like a museum or something, and you start to feel emotions flowing through, or sensations through your body. That's another good indicator that you're an empath. You're picking up the energy of that place, whether it's past, present, or otherwise. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to what to do about it. So now you may have figured out, okay, I know that I'm an empath. Some of these steps, or exercises I should say, that I'm going to teach you here on this video, very simple exercises, you can take them whether you're an empath or not. I think everybody on some level is an empath, whether it's very tiny bit or big spectrum. I think everyone has that natural ability, I would call it, because I feel like everybody has, you know, these abilities on some levels. They're just depending on what level they're at. Some people who are, you know, like I just described some things to you and you realize, oh my God, all of those things happened to me, so I must be an empath. So for you, you would be, you know, on that spectrum where you can identify very quickly. For others, it might take a little bit more tentative thought and feeling and going through life and seeing how you feel. It might take you a little while to figure out, oh yeah, I am an empath, but I'm not really on that higher level that he was explaining. So you can be an empath, but you might not necessarily have those experiences. With that being said, I think that the techniques that I'm about to show you are techniques that anybody can take away. You can teach this to anybody. This is something very simple. You can teach to if you have kids, teach to your children. My sister actually teaches similar techniques to her kids, and to keep them protected because they're very psychic, very in tune with energy, and sensitive too. So, you know, those are things that she teaches her young ones. This is, you know, anybody and everybody who you feel like this would be necessary to, you can tell them, hey, look, I watched this video, it works, you know, I've tried it out, it works for me, I've noticed a difference, here's what I do. So please spread the word, because ultimately the goal is for me to spread what I know and my knowledge to all of you, so all of you can help grow and expand your life and, you know, follow your life purpose and all that amazing stuff, so that we all live better and have better lives, and not just our lives, but the lives of all around us. And that's the ultimate goal. You know, I teach you, you learn, then you, at some point, you might teach others. and it goes and goes and goes. It's a domino effect. So essentially, I might reach, a couple hundred people on this video, maybe 1,000 people, maybe 1,000,000 people. But then those hundreds or thousands or millions of people will then use that knowledge that I have taught through this video and spread the word that way, in order for all of us to support each other, whether directly or indirectly. So that is the purpose of all that I do. So with that being said, let's move on to the techniques. So techniques for protecting your energy. So the very simple one that I teach to all of the people I work with, students, clients, or through spiritual gatherings that I partake in, to learn and grow and heal in groups, is what we call bubbling up. So you might think that sounds a little silly, but it's a simple way to describe this method, this technique, I should say, so that everyone can understand it. Everyone knows what a bubble looks like. Who doesn't? Unless you're watching this video and you don't speak the English, you might not know what the word bubble means, but in your language, you will know what the word bubble means and you will know what that looks like. So essentially, imagine yourself in a bubble. And again, this might sound silly, but please try it out. I encourage everyone to try it out, test it out, see how you feel, be very scientific in the process of like, how do I feel when I don't do it? How do I feel when I do it? Don't just take this method and be like, oh my God, this is great, I'm gonna do it. And then, it's kind of those people that believe it right away and do it. Not that that's a bad thing in a way, but I just encourage everyone to try it. Because even if this method is successful for a lot of people, it might not necessarily be the best method for you, which is okay. But I also want you to realize that it is effective. So I want you to try it. Be scientific. Try it. Try doing it. Try not doing it. Analyze how you felt before and after, Experiment with it so that you can fully decide for yourself whether or not this method actually works for you. And not only that, you can see that if this method does work for you, you do have tangible results and effects that improve your life. So it's not just about, oh, I listened to this video, now I'm going to do it and it's great and blah, blah, blah. Like, really, when you learn something new, you really should put it into practice and analyze things, whether it's here or with your heart or with your feelings or with your body or whatever method works for you. It could be just pure knowingness that, oh, I know that when I do it, I can't quite say exactly how I know, but I know that it makes a difference in my life. Get to that point, because the more you have belief in any technique, any spiritual, non-spiritual, anything, the more you have belief in it, the more you're successful at it. And on an energetical level, the more powerful that energy is. So, okay, bubbling up. So bubbling up is very simple. Essentially, I always teach my students or clients that you imagine yourself inside a bubble. Now this bubble, I always say, imagine it is a brilliant, the brightest white light bubble that you can muster, right, in your mind. And it is around you, all the way encapsulating all of your body, several feet above your head, several feet above your feet, and several feet above on each side of you and all around you. You're in this sphere or bubble, right? And it's a white light. Now, if you feel very comfortable with a different light source, maybe you absolutely love the color pink, go for it. Do pink, see if that feels right for you. You might try pink and be like, well, I tried it, I love the color pink, but you know what, I think the white really is going to work for me. So white is a great starting point. I always encourage people to start with that and then later experiment. But if you really feel called to visualize other colors, you go for it. As long as if it is effective for you, an effective method for you, technique, then go for it. Doesn't matter how it is. You have to feel the positive outcomes, okay? So this bubble around you, you're imagining it around you. And essentially, there's a little bit of intentional work here. Is that when you're an empath, You want to, there's two ways you can go about doing it. Maybe you don't like taking in all people's junk energy, right? Maybe you don't. I don't think anybody likes that, right? No one likes that. But maybe like it's too much for you. You just want to stop it all at once. So some people, what they do is they put a bubble and they say they completely block it. Well, that's good and all, and it is, achieving the desired result. But what's happening is that you're blocking yourself from feeling that person. So what instead I tell people is that you can sense the energy outside of the bubble, but you don't allow it inside. I'll say that again. You can sense the energy outside the bubble, but you never allow it inside. That is the key. And I think that is the best method you can go about doing this technique, because you don't dull down your natural gifts and abilities, and you can learn to harness these things to better your life. Being an empath isn't like, oh crap, I'm an empath this time around. What am I gonna do? That sucks. No, being an empath is a very beautiful thing and a very beautiful gift that you have, that all of us have on some level, and it can be used for the betterment of our lives and others' lives. Like there's someone you really care about, you're able to feel into that emotion. Maybe they're like smiling at you and having a good time, but then you feel like there's an inner sadness there, and maybe they don't have someone in their life to express that. So an empath being able to sense that, you might go about it in a more sneaky way to be like, hey, how you doing? Anything happening in your life? Or you could be very direct and say, hey, you know what? I'm an empath. I'm feeling this. Let's talk about this, Always keeping your bubble. You don't want to take in any negative energy, but you can help others with this. So the bubble, you set the intention that you can feel, you're unrestricted in feeling like you did before, and maybe even better now, and that you don't allow it inside of that bubble. A very powerful intention for protection that I always state when I'm doing anything, any kind of psychic work, or protecting, if I feel negative energies coming on, I do this intention, and I'm going to say it now. It's only that which is for my highest good may enter within my bubble. You can call it a sphere, you can call it your shield, whatever works for you. But that is a very powerful intention to state, and you can repeat that until you feel like, okay, I'm ready. And this is a great technique you can do to when you go into a party and you know that, hey, I'm going to get bombarded with all these energies. Put your bubble on before you even get in your car to get there, or before you even walk over there, or whatever it is that you're doing. Before you travel to that party, put your bubble up and go to the party. Same thing if you're going to the grocery store. That's a great place for people on the go to unconsciously dump energy. Okay, they touch things, they're moving their car, maybe they're bickering, a couple's bickering, and they're leaving all kinds of energy everywhere, whether they touched it or didn't touch it or whatever. That's a great place for there to be a lot of what I call poop energy. And you don't want to step in poop energy. So you put on your bubble before you go to the store. You can literally put on your bubble when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed. You can put it on all day long. Sometimes I've gone a few times where I'm like, I need this all day long, so I'll do it as soon as I wake up. I'll check in like a couple hours later. How does it feel? Okay, I feel good. And then later I'll be like, oh no, I gotta polish up my bubble, so I'll do that. And then I'll do it at nighttime too while I sleep so that I'm protected. So do it as much as you can and notice the difference. That's the key. Notice the difference. Why? Why do you want to notice the difference? So that you can have more belief in the process, in the technique, in the working with energy and the protection, which then concretes that energy even more so, which makes the energy more powerful. Okay? That is why you want to notice the difference. The other technique I'm going to talk about is not a protecting technique. This is a flushing technique. So let's say you have gone to a party and maybe you did learn this method, but you forgot to bubble up and you realized, oh crap, I took someone's crap energy with me, or I stepped in poop energy, you know? This is a method that you can use to cleanse. There's a few different ways you can do this, but some are like physical. For one, I'll be talking about being under a shower. Water is a very cleansing energy. It has a very cleansing energy, so you can use water to cleanse. Two, you can visualize that water, more like an etheric light water flowing through you and going. And two is all energy intention based, not necessarily with water or a visualization of water. It's just a cleansing. But all the methods are very similar in the fact that you're moving the energy out of you. So I'll start with the first one I mentioned. When you go to the shower, either in the morning or at night, or maybe you don't necessarily shower at night or in the morning, whatever you do, but you leave somewhere and you feel like this is what you got to do, then you want to hop in the shower and you want to close your eyes and set the intention that that water is taking all that energy and it's just flowing it off. Okay? That's it. That's all you have to do. The energy is there. The only intention that I think is very important when you do any kind of cleansing technique is that you're always setting the intention that whatever energy you release gets returned to sender in ways that's for their highest good. Okay? If any energy that's just gonna go, it's not gonna go back to a specific person, just say it goes wherever it needs to go for the highest good. I always say that because, someone just dumped all this energy, and yes, it's unfortunate, but we don't want to give it back to them. A lot of the time, 99% of the time, people don't even realize that they've done that. They feel great after that, sure, it's good for them, but they don't realize it. So we don't want to just send it back to them like that. I think the highest road to take, when we're all talking about actually working, for everybody, we're working, everyone's important, everyone's involved, everyone has a voice, everyone has a choice, all that good stuff. The love and light and healing for everybody, that's something I truly want. I'm not going to send that poop energy back. So I always set the intention that I'm sending it back in ways that it's for their highest good, and that's it. Or it's releasing and it's going to wherever it needs to go for the highest good. Doesn't matter what kind of cleansing modality you do, or method I should say, always set that intention. So, shower, letting it outflow out. Okay, number 2 is very similar. You don't have to take a shower, but you can imagine a white light energy coming down and pouring on you. You can see it like water in your mind. I always like to visualize it as like really bright, crystal clear water, but it's like sparkling and it's beautiful. I imagine that flowing through me when I do that way. And same thing, same concept. It's flowing past you. The other one is you can bathe in just a spotlight or a pillar or a ray of light just coming around you, and you're allowing that to cleanse. And it is flowing out of you. Another method is grounding. You can go take your feet, take your shoes off, go walk on the earth and allow that energy to go flow down into the earth. Again, you always want to set that intention that you're allowing it to go in ways that's for the highest good of all concerned. So, there's that. There's many methods you can do, and you can do all of them. You can imagine yourself burning it all off, but as long as you set the intention, whatever happens with that energy that's not yours, it happens in ways that's for the highest good of all. So, that's another method. Burning, imagine that you're burning it with flames. Different colored flames. Gold flames, white flames, orange, purple, whatever you want to do, Go with the method that really works for you. So, there's a few methods you can do. I highly recommend both of those. Practicing them. If you don't fully resonate with those particularly, figure out other methods. There's other things that you can do, but at least now I've opened the door for you to go figure that out for yourself. So with that being said, thank you all for being here. This has been the Golden One channel. And again, if you like this video, please consider hitting the like button. That's really going to help me out down the road with my YouTube channel, reach other people, because ultimately that is the goal, to reach as many people as I can, because there are people out there who need, my words, my specific energy, and, not everyone's going to be perfect for that, but those who are, I want to reach those people. So please like, please share, comment down below, and if you have any questions, comment down below if you have techniques that work for you. It might help others. Please share, please have a conversation, and also if you like my content overall, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon. I'd be very grateful, and I'll see you in the next video. Much love, much thanks, and you take care.